that hurt it. I'm spraying some magnesium. Ooh, that hurt it. On my feet. Magnesium ease. Ooh, ooh. But it got on my cut. When I was cutting some jackfruit. Let me back up a little bit because I'm too close for y'all over here on TikTok. Hey, YouTubers. I'm going to put some castor oil on my cut. You know, just to, hey, Martha, to boost the healing. Y'all got a violation when I was coming home from BB's and my lab dropped and I was restricted. But it only did it for a short period of time. But this really hurts. Ow, it hurt. I don't know what I was doing. I was in there pulling that jackfruit, completely forgetting that those pieces that I was pulling on is kind of hard. But anywho, here we are. Here we are. Here we are. So we are going to go live. I guess I should have. Oh crap. Hold on, y'all. I should have checked to see. Well, I know my ear is on 70. Y'all, I'm at that age where I just be having hot flashes. Hey, Doris. And it's horrible. And I put these pajamas on, but I probably should have put on some pajamas that was a little cooler. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hot. I'm real hot right now. And I don't like it. But that's why I keep my fan close by. Woo! But we're going to jump back into asking it's given. So I'm going to start reading this in a minute. I got to cool down a little bit. Hey, over there on YouTube. Hello, hello, hello. Whew, baby. I don't know why I put this on. It's hot. It's hot. Even though this is thin, this is really thin satin. But I'm hotter than hot. Woo! Fix it, Jesus. Okay, so jumping back in. Because I was reading this earlier and I just got so tired. I had to go to sleep. And I didn't wake up till after midnight. And then I went to BB's and then I just came back. So we're going to jump right back in. Hey, Doris. Hey, Narook. So part 1, things that we know that you may have forgotten, which are important for you to remember. So hopefully this resonates with you. Because I'm praying that it resonates with me as I continue on my journey of spiritual elevation and manifesting the things that I desire in this lifetime. I'm finally comfortable with saying $1 million is coming into me. $1 million is coming in. I didn't say multiple millions. I said $1 million. But again, God is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that we can ever ask, hope, or think. So, chapter 1 is about the power of feeling good now. We are called Abraham, and we are speaking to you from the non-physical dimension. For those of you that don't know what the non-physical dimension is, it's the spiritual realm. If you don't know it, I'm into crystals and things. And if you don't know what I mean by that, then I just don't know what to tell you. Of course, you must understand that you also have come forth from the non-physical dimension. So we are not so different from one another. Your physical world has come forth from the projection of the non-physical. In fact, you and your physical world are extensions of the non-physical source energy. In this non-physical realm, we do not use words, for we do not require language. We also do not have tongues with which to speak or ears with which to hear. Although we do communicate perfectly with one another, our non-physical language is one of vibration, and our non-physical communities or families are those of intention. In other words, we radiate that which we are vibrationally, and others of like intent assemble. That is also true of your physical world, although most of you have forgotten that this is so. So I'm going to take a moment right here. Hey, Queen, what you doing up, girl? Hey! I'm going to take a moment right here to ask everyone to just take 3 deep breaths. I personally need to take deep breaths because right now I feel like some anxiety coming on. I'm not necessarily sure where the anxiety is coming from, and I know on occasion I can pick up on other people's energy, so I don't know if it's over on YouTube or if it's over on TikTok. I just came back from BB's. I didn't wake up till after midnight. I took a post-work nap and woke up after midnight. And I was going to sit in the house. And I said, you know, I'm going to do something different. Because I feel like in this season of my life, I want to do things differently. So I actually got dressed. I didn't leave my house until like 1:30 a.m. And 1:30 a.m. And then I ended up there. They didn't close at 3 a.m. And I just got back home. My TikTok got, I got banned a little bit for I was probably because I was driving and I wasn't supposed to be driving. But again, I'm feeling that anxiety, so we're going to take 3 deep breaths, and then we're going to go back to reading, which we're reading Asking It Is Given, Learning to Manifest Your Desires by Jerry and Esther Hicks, and this is the teachings of Abraham. So with breathing, if you don't know how to breathe, you want to take a deep breath in. So just kind of think of it bringing the breath in from the bottom of your stomach, or think from your feet, and you want to bring it all the way up, which means you're kind of taking that breath all the way into the pit of your stomach. You're going to hold it for a couple seconds, and then you're going to release. And as you're doing the breaths, just think good, positive thoughts, and think about what you want to manifest or what you want to get out of. I actually had bought these from TJ Maxx or Marshall's, one of those places. So I think it was Marshall's. So let's go, and we're going to do 3. You want to take your breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. If you want to stand to do this, feel free to do that as well. We're going to do 3 more because I'm personally not feeling real relaxed yet. So 3 more. Breathe in everything that you need. Exhale everything that you don't. So breathe in your manifestations. Exhale your stresses and things that you no longer desire. Breathe in what you desire, your manifestations. Breathe out what you don't want, those things you no longer desire. So if you don't know, a full moon is where you cleanse. So you want to cleanse on your full moons. So we had a full moon on the 23rd. A few days after the full moon, you still have that energetic flow that the full moon brings. So you can continue to do your cleansing and start to think of things that you want to bring in, your manifestations. On the new moon is when you manifest. So let's do 2 more breaths. Okay, that feels better. Now we're live on YouTube and TikTok. If you have questions between any of the lives, feel free to ask questions, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that might arise. So going back into the reading. Abraham is a family of non-physical beings naturally assembled by our powerful intention to remind you, our physical extensions of the laws of the universe that govern all things. It is our intention to help you remember that you are extensions of source energy, that you are blessed, loved beings, and that you have come forth into this physical time space reality to joyously create. All who are physically focused have non physical counterparts. There is no exception to that. All who are physically focused have access to the broader perspective of that which is non physical. There is no exception to that. But most physical beings have become so distracted by the physical nature of your planet that you have developed strong patterns of resistance that thwart your clear connection to your own source. It is our intention to help those who are asking to remember the connection. While all physical humans have access to the clear communication from the non physical, most are not consciously aware of it. And often, even when you are aware that it is possible, you hold habits of thought that act as resistance, hindering your ability to consciously interact. However, on occasion, a clear channel of communication opens and we are able to convey our understanding vibrationally to someone who can clearly receive it and translate it. And that is what is happening here through Esther. We offer our knowing vibrationally in a way that is similar to what you understand as radio signals. As Esther receives those vibrations and translates them into the physical word equivalent, there are not, however, adequate physical words to convey our satisfaction and joy in being able to offer our knowing to you in this way at this time. It is our powerful desire that you be pleased with where you are right now in this moment. No matter where you are, we understand how strange these words must sound to you if you are standing in a place that seems far from where you want to be. But it is our absolute promise to you that when you understand the power of feeling good now, no matter what, you will hold the key to the achievement of any state of being, any state of health, any state of wealth, or any state of anything you desire. These pages are specifically written to give you a better understanding of yourself and everyone else around you. And you may find some of that helpful, but words really do not teach. Your true knowledge comes from your own life experience. And while you will be a constant gatherer of experience and knowledge, your life is not only about that. It is about fulfillment, satisfaction, and joy. Your life is about the continuing expression of who you truly are. Now, for me, I'm at that point in life where that's what I want. I want fulfillment, I want satisfaction, and I want joy. I want to move away from doing things that feel like work, doing things that makes me feel like I'm time bound. I want to start doing things that I feel are aligned with my life purpose and my life goal. So in this full moon that we just experienced, I was trying to clear a lot of those things away to say, hey, I want to be more intentional in this next season that's coming up and really do those things that I should be doing in this lifetime, in this particular segment of my life. Give me one moment, YouTube. Let's see. I'm playing with the filters over here on YouTube. Oh, look, I can do bubbles. I can do that. OMG. Oh, look at there. Look at there. I like the bubbles, though. Isn't we're going to do the bubbles over here. We have the bubbles over on YouTube, and we have the hearts over on TikTok. Hey, Michael Jr. So you only hear what you are ready to hear. Again, we're reading Asking It Is Given. And this is about learning to manifest your desires. And this is something that I'm going through, and I'm sharing this all with you. We're also reading the Kabbalion. We're going through the Kabbalion workbook. We are returning to our regular scheduled program, which is about living a life of abundance, eliminating limiting beliefs uh, through a positive mindset. So we want to get rid of negative mindsets, and we want to live a life of abundance. Before, when I was doing the readings, I had to take a small pause because I realized a lot of people were still trapped in their minds. So we started reading To Be a Slave because my goal was to help connect people to some of those mindsets that they had that were potentially, excuse me, confirmation burp, potentially parts of a slave mindset. Now we're going back to abundance. And if you guys want to finish the reading of To Be a Slave, we left off at chapter 5. Please go on Amazon and purchase the book and finish the reading. I want to get back to my intent, which is manifesting. So again, you only hear what you are ready to hear. So as I'm reading this book, or including when I start reading the Kabbalion, if the words that I speak do not make sense to you, and you just can't resonate with them, then that means you are not in a mindset to receive the words that are being spoken. So you can only hear what you are ready to hear. We're talking to you at many levels of your awareness, all at the same time, but you will only receive whatever you are now ready to receive. Everyone will not get the same thing from this book, but every reading of this book will net you something more. This is a book that will be read many times by those who understand its power. It is a book that will help physical beings understand their relationship to God and to all that they really are. Oh, sorry, my feet are getting a little cold, so I want to put on my house shoes here. This book will help you understand. Oh, I'm sorry. This book that will help you understand who you really are, who you have been, where you are going, and all that you continue to be. This book will help you understand that you never, ever get it done. It will help you understand your relationship with your history and with your future. But most important, it will awaken within you your awareness of the potency of your powerful now. You will learn how you are the creator of your own experience and why all of your power is in your now. And ultimately, this book will lead you to an understanding of your emotional guidance system and to an understanding of your vibrational set point. Here, you will find a series of processes that will assist you in reconnecting with the non physical part of yourself. Processes that will help you in achieving anything you desire. And as you apply these processes, and as your memory awakens to the powerful laws of the universe, your naturally joyful zest for life will return. That was chapter 1. So now we are going on to chapter 2. And I know for me, it's very hard to go live on social media. I can't speak for everybody, but it's very hard because you have to be willing to do it even if no one's there. You have to be willing to do it if no one communicates, if nobody shows anything. And for me, sometimes it can be disheartening is the word that I'm hearing, when I feel like I'm doing it and no one's listening, but I always know someone's listening. And just because there's no response that I see that I like, for me, that doesn't mean that the message is not getting to the person that's meant to hear it. And I'm sharing, these are studies that I'm actually doing for myself, but I'm willing to be transparent in this moment of my life and share what I study, what I do behind the scenes with other people. So when people see the life that I have, they understand I manifested this life. I did not always have this life. I literally manifested the life that I live now. And now I'm going into this this new journey, this new elevation, and I don't know what that's going to be or what it's going to look like for me, but I have to continue my journey. So now I'm allowing other people to join me on my journey, and I'm hoping through what I'm learning, and as I share those learnings through teaching it, the other people can elevate and experience the same manifestation desires that they have within their own life. So, chapter 2 is we are keeping our promise to you. We are reminding you of who you are. And I think I'm in a place where I need to be reminded of who I am because I've done so much in my lifetime. And it's kind of like now at my age, I always tell people I'm over a half century, which I am, but I'm 50. And I don't even like to say I'm 50, but I'm 50 years old. God, that sounds horrible. Okay. Um, but it's like, who am I? I've done so much, but it's like who am I really? At one point in my life, I was just this girl. I was just this girl that my mom moved from state to state, city to city, and I never had anything that felt like home. So home to me was when I went to Ohio to my dad's house. It was always the same house. My dad never moved. I would go home in the summer from Florida and I would go to Ohio and then I would come back home and my mom has moved and she's moved to a different part of the city and now I have to go to a new school and I have to make new friends. And again, I was asking myself, okay, who am I? I was picked on because I talk very proper and I was like, okay, I'm tired of this. So I picked up a Southern dialect, and as I started traveling and going to different places, when this is when I'm older, I'm in my 20s, and I'm going to California and I'm going to New Orleans and I'm going to all these different places and I'm liking the way they talk. So I'm picking up all of these dialects and now I have this northern southern twang, and sometimes people feel like I'm from New Orleans and I'm like, no. I consider myself a Floridian, but I'm really from Ohio because that's where I was born. But truth be told, out of the 50 years of my life, I've only lived in Ohio for a total of 5 months. No, not 5 months, 5 years. My mom had a bad breakup with my dad. She left and moved to Georgia. The house burnt down in Georgia, so then we went back to Ohio, and then she got tired of Ohio, and then we moved to Florida. But now I'm like, well, who am I now? I'm still a mother. I'll always be a mother because I have kids. I'll always be a grandmother because I have grandkids. I'll always be a wife, even though I'm not married. I'm now divorced, but you're a wife before the marriage. You don't become a wife because you are married. You're a wife automatically. And it's hard for me to explain it, but being a wife is not a title. Being a wife is that innate ability to just be able to see the things that the man, which would be your husband, needs, and bringing those things to the table for him, helping him see his value and his worth when he doesn't see it, trying to push him to greatness, and just being sure that everything is together. Like being a wife is so much more than what people try to make it now. But at my age, I'm still saying, okay, who am I now? I've been a hairstylist. I'm not a hairstylist anymore. I've been a platform artist. I'm not a platform artist anymore. I've been an educator. I'm still kind of an educator, but not really an educator. So it's like, okay, so who am I? I've worked in the medical field and then I'm out of the medical field. It's like, who am I? So in this time, space, reality, I'm trying to figure it out. And I'm hoping through reading this book, and mind you, I've had this book for a few years and I've never read the book. So this is the first time that I'm actually opening up the book and reading it. And I think it's because it's the time for me to read it. A lot of times, you gather things through life, but you don't necessarily use them right then. But you use them when the time is right. So as this says, we're keeping our promises to you. We are reminding you of who you are. And that's what I want to know. Who am I now? So if you're asking yourself that same question, who am I now? Then this reading is for you. I want you to go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel because we'll be reading this book over here. Subscribe over on the TikTok, even though the TikTok ban now has to go over to the Senate. It was approved in the House, but whatever. But really, for YouTube, I want you guys to go ahead. So do you know what you want? Do you know that you are the creator of your own experience? Are you enjoying the evolution of your desire? Do you feel the freshness of a new desire pulsing within you? Those are really good questions to ask yourself. Do you know what you want? Do you know that you are the creator of your own experience? Are you enjoying the evolution of your desire? Do you feel the freshness of a new desire pulsing within you? If you are among the rare humans who answered yes, I'm enjoying the evolution of my desire. I feel wonderful as I stand in this place where many things that I desire have not yet come to me. Then you understand who you are and what this physical life experience is really all about. But if you are, as most humans are, feeling unhappy about your unfulfilled desires, if you have a desire for more money, but you find yourself in a continual state of shortage, if you are not satisfied with your job situation, but you feel stuck and cannot see any way of improving it, if your relationships are not satisfying, or if the dream relationship that you have desired for as long as you can remember continues to be just out of reach, if your body does not feel or look the way you would like, then there are some very important and rather easy to understand things that we would like to convey to you here. We want to give you this information because we want you to find your way to all things that you desire. But that is really only a small part of our reason. For we understand that even when you have achieved everything on your current list of things that you have achieved, everything on your current list of things that you take to its place. Hold on. I'm sorry. Yeah, turn that off. Okay. But that is really only a small part of our reason, for we understand that even when you have achieved everything on your current list of things that you desire, there will be another list, even longer and more expansive, to take its place. So this book is not being written to assist you in getting everything you want checked off your list, for we understand the impossible nature of that endeavor. We write this book to reawaken within you your memory of the power and inevitable success that pulses through the core of that which you really are. We write this book to assist you in returning you to your place of optimism, positive expectation, and expanding joy, and to remind you that there is nothing that you cannot be, do, or have. We write this book because we promised you we would. And now, as you hold this book in your hands, you are completing a promise you made as well. Oh. Let me get a little comfortable here. You said, I will live in joy. You said, I will go forth into the physical time-space reality among other beings, and I will assume an identity with a clear and specific perspective. I will learn to see myself from that point of view, and I will enjoy being seen as that point of view. I will learn to see myself from that point of view, and I will enjoy being seen as that point of view. I will assume an identity with a clear and specific perspective. I will learn to see myself from that point of view, and I will enjoy being seen as that point of view. I will go forth into the physical time space reality among other beings. And I will assume an identity with a clear and specific perspective. I will learn to see myself from that point of view, and I will enjoy being seen as that point of view. Now, the reason I keep reading that is because as I'm reading it, I'm asking myself, what's the identity that I want to assume? And what is the clear and specific perspective? So, I will assume an identity with a clear and specific perspective. I will learn to see myself from that point of view, and I will enjoy being seen as that point of view. So, just dissecting that for me, because I can only speak for me, I can't speak for you that's listening. You have to make that decision. But for me, the identity that I want to assume is the identity of being a positive minded person, but also a person that does not live in lack, a person that lives in super abundance. Because you can have abundance and be okay, but I want to live in super abundance, which to me means I have more than enough. I have enough that I can help someone else out and still have overflow. So I want to assume the identity with a clear and specific perspective of someone that can help other people unblock what's locking them into a time space reality that they don't want to be in. I want to be an Esther. I want to be an Esther, which is crazy to physically say this because I had a prophecy more than 20 years ago where they said I was an Esther, but I always connected it to Esther in the Bible, and I would consistently study that chapter in the Bible of Esther. And I would always say, oh, I'm going to marry a king. And I did marry a king. I just don't think he knew he was a king when we were married. And I've been married multiple times, and each time I married a king. But now I'm realizing the Esther that was prophesied that I was is not the Esther of the Bible. It's the Esther that Abraham speaks through, which means that I, in essence, will become a person that will receive these vibrational downloads, and I will be able to articulate those downloads to provide the word to other people as they need to hear them. You said, I will observe what surrounds me, and my response to what I observe will cause my own valuable personal preferences to be born. You said, I will know the value of my preferences. I will know the value of my perspective. And then you said, and this is the most important part of all, I will always feel the power and value of my own personal perspective, for the non physical energy that creates worlds will flow through my decisions, my intentions, and my every thought, for the creation of that which I set into motion from my perspective. I will always feel the power and value of my own personal perspective, for the non physical energy that creates worlds will flow through my decisions, my intentions, and my every thought, for the creation of that which I set into motion from my perspective. You knew then, before your physical birth, that you were source energy, specifically focused in this physical body. And you knew that the physical person you would become could never be separated from that which you came from. You understood then your eternal connection to that source energy. You said, I will love pouring myself into this physical body, into physical time space reality. For that environment will cause me to focus the powerful energy that is me into something more specific. And in the specifics of that focus, there will be powerful motion forward and joy. I will love pouring myself into this physical body, into physical time space reality. For that environment will cause me to focus the powerful energy that is me into something more specific. And in the specifics of that focus, there will be powerful motion forward and joy. I will love pouring myself into this physical body, into physical time space reality. For that environment will cause me to focus the powerful energy that is me into something more specific. And in the specifics of that focus, there will be powerful motion forward and joy. That is pretty much telling me that, like he had just said over here, I am source energy, because it will cause me to focus the powerful energy that is me. So the energy that I'm transmuting, the energy that I am projecting, not only outwardly but inwardly, is me. It's the energy of me that I always was, even before I was me. So I'm basically pouring me into me. That's kind of deep. It would only, I feel like it takes a deep person to even understand and connect that. So as I elevate, I'm not necessarily elevating into someone else. I'm elevating into me, the me that I knew I was before I even became who I am. Ooh, this thing getting deep. Okay. Ooh, we know who you are. So you came forth into this wonderful body, remembering the joyous, powerful nature that is you, knowing that you would always remember the splendor of the source from which you came, and knowing that you could never lose your connection to that source. So now, here we are, helping you remember that no matter how you may feel right now, you cannot lose your connection to that source. We are here to help you remember the powerful nature that is you, and to assist you in returning to that confident, joyful, always looking for something else wonderful to turn your attention to person that is you. That's me. That's the season I'm in right now. The nature that is you, and to assist you in returning to that confident, joyful, always looking for something else wonderful to turn your attention to person that is you. So that explains why I'll start doing things and I'll master it and I'll do it until the point where I'm like, okay, I want to do something else now. Because when I look back over all the things I've done, there's not one thing that I've done that I felt like, oh, I'm never going to do this. Now, I've done things where I felt like, yeah, I don't want to do this. But I learned it to a mastery point where I could decide, do I want to keep doing this? Or do I want to do something else? So that's the season I'm at. I'm always looking for something else wonderful to turn my attention to person. That's me. Since we know who you are, we would easily help you remember who you are. Since we are where you came from, we will easily remind you of where you have come from. Since we know that you desire, we will easily guide you to help yourself to that which you desire. There is nothing that you cannot be, do, or have. And I keep debating, do I want to go to law school? And I keep saying, I really don't. I really don't. So I have to figure out what is that thing that I want to do next. We want you to remember that there is nothing that you cannot be, do, or have. And we want to assist you in achieving that. A millionaire. That's what I want to be. I don't necessarily, I think my desire to go to law school was more so around lawyers made good money. Lawyers were rich, lawyers were successful. So I think my desire from my younger years to be an attorney was more so wrapped into all the things that came with being an attorney. The financial security, the success, especially my desire was to be a high profile attorney. But now I'm realizing I can do all that with just being a millionaire. And once I become a millionaire, I want to be a multi-millionaire. I want to have influence, but I want my influence to be positive influence to change lives and in some sense change the world. I'm speaking things to existence. As I'm speaking and I'm capturing this, I'm speaking things into existence. I'm speaking things into existence. I'm speaking things into existence. We want you to remember that there is nothing that you cannot be, do, or have, and we want to assist you in achieving that. But we love where you are right now, even if you do not, because we understand how joyful the journey from where you are to where you want to be and will be. So my goal is to be this celebrity content creator. And I always say I'm a celebrity content creator. I'm a celebrity content creator. I'm a celebrity content creator. But the content I create is the content that I want to people to tap into my energetic field, to the positivity, to the understanding that I'm human and I have these desires, but I know how to manifest those desires. But also to understand that it doesn't come easy, but it doesn't come hard either. It's simply applying myself to the journey and enjoying the journey and staying in the present within the journey as I continue to manifest those things I desire to manifest. We want to help you leave behind any perceptions you have picked up along your physical trail that are thwarting your joy and power. And we want to help you reactivate the powerful knowing that pulses within the very core of that which you are. So relax and enjoy this easy-paced journey to rediscovering who you really are. It is our desire that by the time you reach the end of this book, you will know yourself as we know you, that you will love yourself as we love you, and that you will be enjoying your life as we are enjoying your life. Chapter 3, you do create your own reality. Not so very long ago, our friends Jerry and Esther were introduced to this phrase, you are the creator of your own reality. They had discovered the Seth books by Jane Roberts. Now, I'm going to research the Seth books, but that's going to be because I didn't know who Thoth was. And then I got the Tablets of Light, and then I had an understanding of who Thoth was. And it's like all of these books and this is not the first time I've heard of Seth. So I know that's going to be some more digging, but at the right time, space, reality, I'll get a better understanding. For them, it was both an exciting prospect and a troubling one. For like so many of our physical friends, they did not desire creative control of their own experience, but they were plagued with some basic questions. Is it really all right for us to choose the reality that we create? And if it is appropriate for us to do so, how do we go about doing it? I think every day we create our own reality because we have these decisions and these choices to make. And based is UD what happened TV shows, Life with Aries. Good morning, H Reed. Life with Aries, what can you I'm not understanding the question. um and it's funny because we just went through this through a meeting at work where we had to talk through choices, and how we have these decisions that we need to make. And the focus was more around prioritizing. And it said the average person makes 35,000 decisions every day. And we were like, "Whoa, that's a lot of decisions." But as we kept talking through it, it was like, but that's possible. Because think about it, when you go to sleep, and when it's time to wake up, you have to make the decision, okay, do I get up? Do I hit the snooze button? Or do I just turn my alarm off and go back to sleep? So that's a decision in itself, but that's actually three decisions that you have to make. You have to walk yourself through these three decisions. And then once you decide to get up, you have to decide, okay, how am I going to get up out the bed? Am I going to get up slowly, or am I going to take my time getting up? Then when you get up out the bed, you have to decide, okay, am I going to go wash my face first? Am I going to brush my teeth? Am I going to take a shower? Am I going to figure out what I'm going to wear for the day? Am I going to get a cup of coffee? Am I going to am I going to get something to eat while I start breakfast? So you're going through all of these decisions, questions that you're asking yourself every day, and you have to make a decision. You have to make a choice. So one thing, like getting out of bed, you had three decisions. Do I turn the alarm off? Do I hit the snooze button? Or do I just go back to sleep? And then from there, so just think about that throughout your entire day. All of these decisions you have to make, but the decisions that you make are helping you create your own reality. When you're driving down the street, you have the choice. Am I going to go the speed limit, below the speed limit, or am I just going to hightail it? Those are decisions. Am I going to swerve in and out of traffic? Am I going to pull over? Look, am I even going to drive, or am I going to call an Uber? Am I going to take the bus? Am I going to take the train? Will I walk? So you make your reality by the decisions that you make and how you prioritize the decisions that you make. Like, for example, if you have to get up and you're married and you have kids, you have to decide, do I get the kids dressed first, or do I wake the husband up, or do I just get myself ready and let them rest? So you have decisions all throughout your day. People that like to gamble, they have to decide, okay, am I going to gamble this way today, or am I going to say, no, I'm not going to gamble at all? Am I going to play the lottery? When you decide to interact with other people, okay, do I want to connect with this stranger? Do I not want to connect with this stranger? We create our reality. Do I want to try to make friends with this person, or do I want to say, no, I just want to stay by myself? We create our own reality. So I think that's pretty deep because I've been challenged to make more male friends. And I'm like, ugh. But I have to create that reality of saying, hey, it's okay with having all of these male friends. I just want them to know I just want to be friends. I don't want you to be trying to hunch on me. I just want to be friends. To have a good mixture of male and female friends. Because it's good to get a male perspective and a female perspective. But if you have a male friend as a woman, if they're a friend, they're going to give you true, transparent information. Versus a woman can't always speak from a man's perspective. So that's a whole another thing. So, is it really all right for us to choose the reality that we create? And if it is appropriate for us to do so, how do we go about doing it? And again, it's about the decisions that you decide to make. So the basis of your life is absolute freedom. You were born with an innate knowledge that you do create your own reality. And in fact, that knowledge is so basic within you that when someone attempts to thwart your own creation, you feel an immediate discord within yourself. You were born knowing that you are the creator of your own reality, and although that desire to do so pulsed within you in a powerful way, when you began to integrate into your society, you began to accept much of the same picture the others held of the way your life should unfold. But still, within you, today lives the knowledge that you are the creator of your own life experience. That absolute freedom exists as the basis of your true experience. And that ultimately, the creation of your life experience is actually absolutely only up to you. It's only up to you. Um, for example, I always have these headhunters coming after me because my resume is impeccable. It is what it is. And they're always trying to get me to come and work with them, come and work with them. And in my younger years, as I was climbing up, it was always, okay, well, I like where I'm at, but I need some more money. And then it finally got to the point I'm making more money and I'm only going to leave if I choose to leave. But now I get to work from home. And I'm like, it's going to be hard for you to give me an amount of money for me to give up that freedom. Because working from home, it comes with a certain freedom. Working from home comes with a freedom of when I'm ready to go to the bathroom, it's not a public bathroom, it's my bathroom. When I get up out the bed in the morning, if I know I need to do something at 8 o'clock, I can get up at 7:55 and log in and be on time. Versus if I have to go in the office and I need to do something at 8 o'clock, I might have to get up at 6:30 in the morning just to get myself dressed and then be out in traffic at 7 a.m. So actually it was yesterday, on Monday, I had a conversation with the lady because she sent me all the stuff. And I explained to her, and she was like, well, because you don't have the opportunity for growth. And I was like, no, I actually do have the opportunity for growth because the company that I work for, it's almost like a conglomerate. It's like we have all of these different companies. So if I decide I wanted to jump into a different area, they would literally train me to be in that area because I'm considered a person that creates value. So we kind of, in a sense, allow other people to make this determination for us. And we have to learn to be okay to correct people when they tell us something that we know is incorrect versus us taking that in and digesting it. And then mentally, we're making that true. Like if I would have played in to her to say, yeah, I really don't have an opportunity for growth. I never told her that. So where did she get that information from? So I had to correct her to let her know, well, no, I do have an opportunity for growth. I actually, since I was hired with the company, I've always been promoted. I used to have a team reporting to me, and now I'm individual contributor, and I like that. I like not having direct reports. I like having that freedom of working from home. So that made me realize, no, I'm good where I'm at. And I think when we are younger, kids are very carefree. Remember the show Kids Say the Darndest Things? Because kids don't think the way that the world thinks. They're kind of freely thinking. And then as they continue to grow, we kind of mold them and put them in this box and make them say, well, don't say this and don't say that and don't do this and don't do that, because we're trying to make them fit into society versus allowing them to be them, but just kind of doing course correction. And I noticed with my youngest son, even with the oldest son, he used to say the darndest things when he was little. And I used to always correct him, don't say that, don't do that, don't do that. And I was doing that to all my kids. And then when my youngest son, it got to the point I would like pull his lips and I'm like, you can't just say that. So now he's 15 now, but I noticed he has a little social anxiety when he gets around people. And I think that's because sometimes he wants to say things, but he doesn't know if it's appropriate to say. So I'm trying to get him used to being okay with having conversations with people and talking to people. And it's really just, I think we should really just teach our kids respect of others, and to be more mindful and thoughtful of other people's feelings. Like if someone said this to you, how would you feel? And that'll just kind of make you think before you speak, versus saying don't say that, because I think then they get confused on what they can say and what they can't say. Um, but society kind of forms us instead of us being free to think. So going back to the lady, she was trying to tell me I didn't have an opportunity for growth. No, I absolutely do have an opportunity for growth where I currently work. But, excuse me, at the same time, I have the freedom to work from home. And everybody that keeps trying to get me to jump ship and come work for them, you want me to give up the freedom of working from home to get up and drive in traffic to come to your job? And then you'll tell me, oh, we'll let you work from home 2 days a week. Baby, I'm working from home 5 days a week. So even if you gave me $50,000 more, to me, it's not worth it. And at one point last week, I was actually rethinking it. I was like, hold on. I never realized sometimes I'm leaving $50,000, $60,000 on the table because I want to work from home. But as I thought about it, who wants to stress of getting out in traffic just to make some more money? More money, more problems. So I was like, no, I'm good with it. So that's just something to think about, that ultimately the creation of your life experience is absolutely and only up to you. You make that determination. If you're working a job and you're making minimum wage and you're comfortable and you're happy making a minimum wage, then stay there. Don't let society tell you, you need to go out and make more money. If you can make it work with whatever you making, then make it work. If you're making a 6-figure income and it's $50,000 more that you can make, and you decide that $50,000 is not worth the piece that I currently have, then you stay there. Don't let society tell you, oh, you should be doing everything you need to do to make all the money you can. For what? Sometimes peace is priceless. That's what I always tell people. Peace is priceless. You have never enjoyed someone else telling you what to do. And I haven't. You have never enjoyed being dissuaded from your own powerful impulses. And I haven't. But over time, with enough pressure from those who surrounded you, who seemed convinced that their practice way was more valid than your way, and therefore ultimately better, you gradually began to release your determination to guide your own life. You often found it easier just to adapt to their ideas of what was best for you rather than trying to figure it out for yourself. But in all this adapting to your society's attempts to make you fit in, and in your own attempt to find less trouble, you have unwittingly relinquished your most basic foundation, your total and absolute freedom to create. And I think a lot of people do that. They give up that freedom to create the life that they desire, and they allow other people to tell them this is the life you should have. And for some reason, I just thought about Anna Nicole Smith. Do you guys remember Anna Nicole Smith? Hey, Valerie! Anna Nicole Smith was in her 20s, if I'm not mistaken. And she married an older man. I think this man that she ended up marrying was in her 70s, right? And a lot of people was like, oh, she just with him for the money and this and that. And she kept saying, no, I truly love him. I love him. And it was like she had this battle, but at the same time, she had this mindset of, I don't care what these people say. I know what it is. So he passed and he left her all this money. So now she ended up being this millionaire or whatever. And then she had a daughter, and it was so much going on, but everybody wanted to try to tell her what to do with the money. That was his name, Daniel Spencer. They was trying to tell her what to do with the money, how to raise her daughter, how to do this. And Anna Nicole Smith had a mindset of, this is my life, this is my money, and just because you want me to do it this way, that's what you want, but that's not what I want, so that's my happiness. So she realized, I control my life. I cannot allow other people to determine how I move. Think of Meg the Stallion. Meg said people always have something to say when it comes to her, but at the end of the day, it's her life, and She said if she wakes up and she felt what she did the day before made her happy, that's all that mattered, because she's not supposed to be living her life to make other people happy. And I think a lot of people are very selfish, that you feel like you're not doing what I want you to do, and that's a problem. Um, and I think a lot of people enjoy that about me, because I live my life based on my terms, and I don't necessarily care how it's going to affect certain people, because I have to look at my happiness. So when I pack up and I move somewhere, I'm like, hey, Domain, I pack up and I move somewhere. I can't take into account, and I'm going to use my kids, for example. All of my kids are grown except for one. He's 15. And when I moved from Florida and I went to Georgia, they didn't want me to move to Georgia. I wanted to. So I gave them the option, hey, if you want to move with me, then you can move with me. But why should I stay where I'm not happy to make you happy? So when it didn't work out in, well, it really worked out. It worked out in Georgia. Let's go ahead and call a spade a spade. It worked out in Georgia. The relationship didn't work, but the state worked. The job I had, I enjoyed. The relationship worked when it worked, and when it didn't work, I just went ahead and got my own place and moved out. But my kids have consistently wanted me to move back to Florida. My mom wanted me to move back to Florida. My sister wanted me to move back to Florida. And I was like, but I don't like it. Because all of my trauma, like so many things had happened to me, that I was just sad. It was like I would be there and I would function because I'm this positive person. But internally, I was like, I hate it here. Now, I love going to visit because I like going to the beach and all of that stuff. But to live there, it was just too much. And eventually, I kept extending, hey, you can move here. So now I'm in Houston, Texas, and I love it. And I feel this is home. And my oldest son was one of the main people wanting me to move back to Florida. I'm like, nope, 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 not coming, but you can come here. He finally moved to Houston. And when I tell you, he is absolutely flourishing. And this morning, I was just like, oh my God, my son is growing up. Because generally, he's not necessarily trying to clean up and do things. But I was shocked when he left to go to work, because he works from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning as a water plant operator. And when he left to go to work, he had the room door shut. And when I ended up coming, thank you, Domain. When I ended up coming in the room, I was shocked that he had made the bed. Now, he's been here going on 2 months. He's probably at a month and a half. But not once has he ever made the bed up. So I was shocked when I walked in, and I was like, my son is growing up. But I had to realize there's something in him that made him want to make the bed up. It wasn't me saying, make the bed up. I've never told him to make the bed up since he's been here. And this morning when he just did it, that let me know that he's growing internally, and he did something that he chose to do. And him not making the bed up, it didn't make a difference to me, because I never understood, why do you make the bed up? It really is just to make the room look neat and clean. But right now, everything in here looks correct, because I know that that's because I'm going through this transitional stage where it's like, okay, I want to change my environment. I want to redecorate. And instead of me going to buy new stuff, I went shopping in my storage unit. So over the next week or 2 weeks, I'll be redecorating my apartment, and I have to decide, okay, am I going to keep the stuff on the wall, or will I pull pictures up out of the storage unit? But that's something that I have the pleasure of deciding myself. I can't let other people tell me what it should look like for them, because this ain't your place. It's my place. So I have to figure that out. So you have not given up this freedom easily. However, in fact, you can never truly release it, for it exists as the most basic tenet of your very being. Still, in your attempt to release it for the sake of getting along, or in your hopeless resignation that you have no other choice than to give up your powerful right to choose, you have gone crossways to your natural current and contrary to your very soul. No one else can create in your experience. This book is about your realignment with source energy. Excuse me. And when I burp, I consider those confirmation burps. So it says this book is about your realignment with source energy. It is about your reawakening to the clarity, goodness, and power that is really who you are. It is written to assist you in consciously returning to the knowledge that you are free and that you always have been free and that you always will be free to make your own choices. There is no satisfaction in allowing someone else to attempt to create your reality. In fact, it is not possible for anyone else to create your reality. Once you have realigned with eternal forces and universal laws, and with that which is truly the source of that which you are, then joyous creation beyond physical description awaits you. For you are the creator of your own experience, and there is such satisfaction in intentionally guiding your own life. You are eternal beings in physical form. As I was reading that, what I thought about is the fact that I am on this journey to become a celebrity content creator. And a lot of times when I'm creating content, I'm happy about it. But then every now and then I realize that someone is in my ear saying, you have to think about what your audience wants. Think about what your audience wants, because they want us to look at this as if it's a TV show. And people that are tuning in, they're tuning in to a TV to see, do I like this show? Do I like this character? And I have found myself on occasion pivoting to try to match what the audience wants. And yesterday I realized I can't keep switching up to what other people want. I have to do what I want to do and be happy about it and believe that the universe, the God that I serve, which is the most high God, brings in the people that are supposed to be in my existence. And with doing that, I'm staying true to myself. I'm holding my creative power versus allowing a platform to hold my creative power. I'm deciding the content that I want to put out, opposed to allowing a platform to decide the content that I put out. And when I started going back to what I started with, which was really about living a life of abundance, eliminating negative beliefs through a positive mindset. As I started to transition back to that, I started seeing the views go down. I started seeing the subscriptions go down. And at first I was crushed a little bit, but then yesterday I came to myself, as it says, and I realized, am I really doing this for the people that were there because I had switched over to what I felt the audience wanted? Or am I here for the people that need what I'm offering? And I realized I'm here for the people that need what I'm offering. I'm here for the people that are saying, will I ever get over this? Will I ever make it through this? Will I ever see the other side? And I feel me walking as a living testimony for people to see. If it happened for me, it can happen for you too. When I have to look back to where I came from, to where I'm at, and realize it was all based on my decisions. It was all based on my choices. Because I could have easily remained a hairstylist for the rest of my life, and to the point that I just couldn't do it anymore. I could have done that because my clients, they needed me, they wanted me. But at the same time, I was saying, I'm tired of doing hair. I don't even like doing hair anymore. Why am I still doing hair? Like, am I still doing hair just because the money is good? Am I still doing hair because the people need me? Or is it something else I want to do? And it was something else I wanted to do. So I took that moment to transition from being a hairstylist to working in corporate America and making that my thing. Then I'm in corporate America and I had to say, okay, do I want to stay with this company or do I want to go somewhere else? And the company I'm with now, I've been here for like 7 years. And I knew from the time that I got hired, I was like, this is the company I'm going to retire from. I still recall when I was younger seeing this company on the news and saying, I'm going to work for that company one day because I think that's awesome. Because I'm looking at the strides that this company made, but I didn't realize, like, in the 80s, I wasn't even in the 80s, I wasn't even 18 yet. And I'm saying, I'm going to work for that company one day. And here I am working for that company. I manifested that because I know the things that I want and the things I desire. The relationships I've had is because I knew the type of relationship I wanted. I knew the type of man that I wanted to date. And now I have to determine what kind of male friends do I want to have. I just don't want them to try to hunch on me. I want them to understand I just want to be your friend. I don't want a relationship, and I'm just trying to be your friend. So I have to learn how to convey that information over, as I'm starting in this new season of my life. We're going to call it a season because life has seasons. So this book is about your realignment with source energy. It is about your reawakening to the clarity, goodness, and power that is really who you are. It is written to assist you in consciously returning to the knowledge that you are free and that you have always been free and that you always will be free to make your own choices. There is no satisfaction in allowing someone else to attempt to create your reality. In fact, it is not possible for anyone else to create your reality. Once you have realigned with eternal forces and universal laws, and with that which is truly the source of that which you are, then joyous creation beyond physical description awaits you. For you are the creator of your own experience, and there is such satisfaction in intentionally guiding your own life. For some reason, this keeps coming to my mind and thought process. And I'm just going to go ahead and speak it, and I might catch a little flack in the comments, but I believe it's true. People that are in abusive relationships, they make the conscious choice to be there. They make the conscious decision to be there. And some of them make that decision because they feel like nobody else is going to want me. Or they make that decision because they feel like I need to do it for the kids. Or they make that decision because they feel like I can't afford to live this life without this person. So if you are in that type of relationship, you have to realize you are creating your reality. Because if someone is abusing you, they have, in my opinion, self-hate for themselves. And because they have that self-hate for themselves, they then inflict what they feel for themselves onto whoever's there. And if you are deciding to stay there, you are basically telling them, I have self-hate for me, but I have enough love for you that I will allow you to take that self-hate out on me. And they end up diminishing your value to yourself. But you are allowing them to do that because you are telling them, I don't value me and I don't love me more than I love you. So you have to choose, who do I love more? Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. You are eternal beings in physical form. You are eternal beings who have chosen to participate in this specific physical life experience for many wonderful reasons. And this time-space reality on planet Earth serves as a platform in which you are able to focus your perspective for the purpose of specific creation. You are eternal consciousness, currently in this wonderful physical body for the thrill and exhilaration of specific focus and creation. The physical being that you define as you stands on the leading edge of thought, while consciousness, which is really your source, pours through you. And in those moments of inexpressible elation, those are the times when you are wide open and truly allowing your source to express through you. The physical being that you define as you stands on the leading edge of thought, while consciousness, which is really your source, pours through you. So with that, and let me just underline that because I think that's really deep, and I just want to dissect this sentence a little bit. The physical being that you define as you stands on the leading edge of thought, while consciousness, which is really your source, pours through you. Sometimes you need to reprogram and retrain your mind based on what your consciousness is. What that means is, if you have a mindset that you always have to pour yourself all the way out to other people, for those people to like you, you need to retrain your mind to understand, I need to pour myself out into me. Because if I don't pour enough into me, I do not have enough for anyone else. And I think a lot of people pour themselves out to the point that there's nothing left for them, and then they don't understand why other people don't pour into them. You cannot expect other people to do for you what you are not willing to do for yourself. So me, I'm okay with being selfish. And I'm okay with being selfless because I understand there's a time and a season for all things. So there are seasons where I'm selfish. I'm pouring into me. I don't have time to give myself to anyone because I've poured out so much of me. But there was no one around me pouring back into me, that I had to realize before I pour out to the point where I dry up, I need to pull back and start pouring into me. So this is a season that I'm going into. Like, I'm sitting here and I'm reading and I'm sharing this knowledge and what I actually pour into myself with other people. But I'm sharing it because I'm in a season I don't have anyone pouring into me. So I need to pull back and pour into myself because I know next season trying not to cry. Next season, there is going to be a plethora, which means so many people that will need me to pour into them. I need to be an overflow for myself. So me taking this step back and pouring into myself and learning and dissecting and digesting different things, it's me preparing to pour into other people. So you just have to know when you need to pull back to pour into you, which is your season to be selfish, and when is your season to come forward and pour into other people. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't have a tissue. I don't have a tissue, so I apologize. But sometimes lives. And you have to realize that it's okay to be selfish. Because at the end of the day, you are responsible for you. If you have kids and you don't pour into yourself to have enough to pour into your kids, you're doing your kids a disservice. I know that there are parents out there, and I mean mothers and fathers, where they pour everything into their kids. I mean, absolutely everything. And then when the kids are grown, they're expecting their kids to pour back into them, and they don't understand why their kids don't. And I think it's probably because you didn't show your kids that you pour into yourself. So you only showed your kids how to be selfish, how to have a me mentality, how to have a sense of entitlement. There's parents out there that will take from their rent money and go buy their kids these latest shoes just so their kids can show out when they get to school. And then your kids will see how you struggling to try to pay the bills and they don't even care. Now, me, on the other hand, I recall when I was younger, I hardly ever went and asked my mom for anything because I knew that the money was, it wasn't loan. It wasn't loan money. But I also knew when my mom had the money, she was going to take me shopping. And that was a lot of the different ways how we learned how to bond. So I just wanted to kind of dissect that sentence a little bit. Mostly for me, but because I'm sharing, I wanted to be able to share what I got out of that. So the physical being that you define as you stands on the leading edge of thought, while consciousness, which is really your source, pours through you. So sometimes you need to retrain your mind, which is your consciousness, and you do that retraining through your subconscious mind. Sometimes you are fully allowing the true nature of your being to flow through you, and sometimes you do not allow it to flow. This book is written to help you understand that you have the ability to always allow your true nature to pour through you, and that as you learn to consciously allow your full connection with the you that is your source, your experience will be one of absolute joy. By consciously choosing the direction of your thoughts, you can be in constant connection with source energy, with God, with joy, and with all that you consider to be good. We have one more page and then we're going into chapter 4. And we'll see if there's anything for chapter 4. If you guys have any questions, if you want to ask, in the comments, I'll be more than happy to answer you. Absolute well-being is the basis of your universe. Well-being is the basis of this universe. Well-being is the basis of all that is. It flows to you and through you. You have only to allow it. Like the air you breathe, you have only open, relax, and draw it unto your being. I'm going to read that again. Well-being is the basis of the universe. Well-being is the basis of all that is. It flows to you and through you. You have only to allow it. Like the air you breathe, you have only to open, relax, and draw it into your being. Well-being is the basis of the universe. Well-being is the basis of all that is. It flows to you and through you. You have only to allow it. Like the air you breathe, you have only to open, relax, and draw it into your being. So when I think about well-being, because remember, people say, well, you have to do it for your own well-being. You have to do it for your own well-being. But at the same time, when people say that, sometimes they're saying, you need to do it for me. You need to do it for me. So I think that kind of translates into do what's good for you. If you're doing something and it just doesn't feel good, stop and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Are you doing it to make somebody else happy, but it doesn't feel good to you? Then you need to question, why are you doing it? Like, I can think back to, and this is probably a horrible example, but at the same time, a good example. I can think back to this relationship I was in, and I'll say the word physical. When he wanted to get physical, I would, but I didn't really want, get off of me. I didn't really want to do it, but I did it anyway. And then I had to start asking myself, why am I doing this? So I had to make it clear, look, if I don't want to, I just don't want to. And it was understood. And it was crazy because all I had to do was speak up for myself to tell them that. And they understood. And it was crazy because during one of the physical moments, I think they connected and they was like, well, what's wrong? And I was like, nothing. I kind of felt like Miss Celia and they were like, he was just on me. But he understood. So when we had the conversation, he really was like, well, all you got to do is just say that. But I kind of had this mindset, if you're in a relationship, that's what you're supposed to do. But no, I don't want to. And I had to let him know, like, look, I'm upset because you don't do X, Y, and Z. And that's when I really started speaking. But I had to realize it was a moment in that relationship. My throat chakra was blocked. So I wasn't speaking up for myself. And when I started speaking up for myself, the more I spoke up, the more they understood, okay, this is not going to be what I thought it was going to be. And they understood, I'm going to have to get it together. And they had to get it together for their own well-being. And I had to speak up for my own well-being. And it ended up working until it wasn't working. And that's really how relationships work. They work until they don't work. And you can either decide to work and make it work, or you can decide, look, this is the end of the road, and you go your way, I'm gonna go my way, but we're good. We don't have to be enemies. We can still be cordial. But it is what it is. So this book is about consciously allowing your natural connection to the stream of well-being. It is about remembering who you really are so that you can get on with the creation of your life experience, in the way you intended before you came forth into this physical body and into this magnificent leading edge experience, where you fully intended to express your freedom in endless, joyous, co-creative ways. Can you understand how much well-being is flowing to you? Do you understand how much orchestration of circumstances and events on your behalf is available to you? Do you understand how adored you are? Do you understand how the creation of this planet, the creation of the universe, fits together for the perfection of your experience? Do you understand how beloved you are, how blessed you are, how adored you are, and what an integral part of this creative process you are? We want you to. We want you to begin to understand the blessed nature of your being. And we want you to begin to look for the evidence of it. Because we are showing it to you in every moment that you will allow yourselves to see it. In the lining up of lovers, money, fulfilling experiences, and beautiful things for you to see. In the lining up of circumstances and events, and in the lining up of amazing co-creative experiences where you are rendezvousing with one another for no other reason than for the fantastically important reason of fulfilling, satisfying, and pleasing yourself and giving yourself joy in the moment. Your motion forward is inevitable. It must be. You cannot help but move forward, but you are not here on a quest to move forward. You are here to experience outrageous joy. That is why you are here. So going back to, we want you to understand the blessed nature of your being, and we want you to begin to look for the evidence of it. As I read that, because I'm in this season where I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to be trying to find more male friends, but I'm also realizing I'm tired of being single. So I need to be more open to meeting males and dissecting through those males, determining who's going in the friend bucket and who's going to be the potential that I want to see where it'll go. So this past Friday, I decided, you know what? I'm not going to go hang out with the ladies. I'm going to go out by myself. So I got dressed and I bop up street because I live in an area with a lot of places that are walking distance from me. So I bopped to this first place that just opened not too long ago. And I had met the owner before. I had met the chef. So I said, okay, I'm going to go here. So I walk in. And it's a really nice place. And I remember walking up and I had on these little blue jean shorts and a little white button down shirt and some tennis shoes. And I remember walking up and I'm seeing people that's coming out and, I'm looking at the women and I'm like, I feel underdressed. And I said that to the person that checks the ID. So I was like, oh my God, I feel underdressed. And he just looked at me. He said, you feel that way? And I was like, yeah. He said, well, remember, you create the vibe. And I said, you're right, I do. So I I walk in, and it's one of those places where the old me would have been dressed with some stilettos on and a nice little dress and all that. And I would have bopped in there. But I said, you know what, you're right. I do create the vibe. So I bopped in there, and I'm like, okay. And I walked by the bar. You kind of do your little spin, go to the bathroom, check your makeup and stuff. And then I came back, and I'm looking at the bar, but there's nowhere to sit. I'm like, crap. So one of two things, I had a choice. In that moment, I had to make a choice. Do I leave, or do I figure out what I'm going to do? Because I'm like, there's these tables, but I don't, in Houston, you don't know how it's set up. Some of them say you got to buy a section, or you got to do this, you got to do that. So I didn't know what it was. So my first thought was, just go ahead and leave and find somewhere else to go. So I go to walk toward the door, but right before I get to the door, because when you walk in, you kind of see the ladies there, but there's no cover to get in or whatever. So I asked, I said, hey, how does your table, your seating work? And she said, do you plan on ordering? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna order, because I did plan on getting something to eat and ordering a cocktail. So she sat me down, and it was like a table for one. So again, I made a choice because I had to make a decision, and I was creating my experience. So this is kind of recapping what we just read through in chapter 1-3. I had to make that decision. So she sits me down, had a bomb waitress. So I was like, yeah, I want to have a chocolate martini. And I was like, is this the only menu? And she was like, yeah, because we're in after hours. So I ordered some truffle fries, and I'm sitting at this table for one. Hey sis, how you doing? I'm sitting at this table for one, and again, I had to make the choice. Do I feel like, oh my God, I'm sitting here by myself, I'm so embarrassed? Or do I feel like, hey, and I'm the type of person, I'm okay with going out by myself. I will travel out the country by myself. So I was completely comfortable. Especially my only concern when I walked in was like, I felt I was underdressed. But like I said, the guy at the door, he was like, just remember, you create the vibe. So I'm sitting there, and I had my back originally to the door. So I'm sitting there, and I'm just looking around. I'm looking at, from with my back to the door. I could see the bar, and I can see all the little sections and everything. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, it was a table next to me, and that table was empty. And then comes this group of like 4 or 5 guys, and she had took my order. It is. The solo is the way to go, because you don't have. I feel like when you do group trips, it's always somebody that want to make the vacation seem like you working. You're not finna give me no schedule to wake up on because you want to go to an excursion. Go without me, because I'm on vacation. I'm going to wake up when I wake up, and I'm going to go when I want to go. That's just my thing when I'm on vacation. Unless I decide to schedule an excursion. But I'm not waking up at 7 a.m. to go nowhere. I don't even wake up at 7 a.m. to go to work. But anywho, when they came in, it just hit me in my mind that you never sit with your back to the door. And that's kind of like some street level stuff. So I was like, okay. So I was like, I'm gonna move my seat. So when I told the girl I wanted a chocolate martini, she said, well, and she was saying something with a marshmallow, and I'm like, And I had never had a chocolate martini with a marshmallow before. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that. She said, I got you, boo, I got you. So she comes out with this real pretty chocolate martini with this jumbo marshmallow in it. And she kind of starts to char the marshmallow. And she tried to just do one little center. And I had to make the choice. Do I let her walk off knowing that I want more than that charred on my marshmallow? Or do I speak up for myself? Because my throat chakra is not blocked anymore, right? So I was like, do a little bit over here. So she was like, okay. So her concern was, because it's alcohol, and if the fire hit the alcohol, you're gonna have a whole little situation going on. So it's burning, and she's sitting there, and she wants me to blow it out. Again, I had to make the choice. Okay, she wants me to blow it out, but I don't want to blow it out, because I wanted that gooiness that you get when you pull the burnt part of the marshmallow off. That's what I wanted to get to. And she said, she was like, and she's doing this. And I was like, yeah, I know we won't get on the alcohol. And the truffle fries come out, and I decided to move my seat. So now I can see toward the door, and I can look around. But I remember, hey, I need to look around. I need to look up from my phone. I need to start trying to make eye contact and stuff with people. So I had my little food, and the music started popping and the liquor kicking in. And I said, yeah, it's time to go, because I'm gonna be dropping it like it's hot in a minute. And I don't necessarily like to drop it like it's hot when I'm in the club, whether I'm with a group or by myself, because again, I'm over a half century, aka 50. I just don't like the way that sound. And I just feel like, I'm in a different place in life right now. I know where I'm at. So I don't want to be that person out there, lock popping, dropping it at the club. So I leave from there, and I'm gonna go to this other place where they kind of have the pickleball and ping pong and all that stuff, because I had went there that Tuesday, and I said, I'm gonna go in here and have a drink. But as I'm walking toward this place, all of a sudden I hear this country music, and I love country music. Okay, I love country music. Oh, thank you for the love over here on TikTok. I appreciate you all. Thank you over on YouTube as well. So I hear the country music, and I said, oh, I'm gonna go in here. So I go in there, and it's like it's a huge but not really huge place. And it's probably like, let's say 20 people. Like, it's not a whole lot of people in there. So I'm looking at the menu, and I'm trying to well, first I sit down and I'm waiting for somebody to come, and then I realize nobody's coming to take my order. And then I look around, and I realize there's really no waitresses coming out, but there's this really long bar. And I said, oh, maybe I'm supposed to go and order at the bar. So I asked, hey, do I come up to the bar to order? And it was like, yes. I'm looking at the menu, and I'm trying to determine what to get. And they had what was called a Mexican shot. When I tell y'all, that thing was so good. So I said, okay, I'm gonna do that. But it wasn't a shot. Like, for me, a shot is like this, right? A little small glass, that's a shot. Baby, this was a drink, but they called it a shot, and it was only $7. But the cup was probably like this round, probably about this big. But it had tahini around the edges. And I asked the lady for a straw. So when I go to sit back down with my drink, I see the tahini around the edges, and I'm wondering, what does the inside taste like? So I used my straw, like the bartenders do to taste the drink. And I saw it was kind of sweet. So then I took my straw, and I'm kind of taking the tahini and putting it in, and I'm stirring it all together to get the right flavor. And I sip it through the straw, and it was good. Well, next thing I know, this guy comes over, and he's talking to me, and he's asking me, do I know how to two-step? So just imagine, if you're listening to the story, how many decisions I've made already. And remember, I was saying through prioritization, most people make at least 35,000 decisions per day. So, and I was like, well, yeah. I said, well, no. And I said, well, really, but not really. And he probably was like, what the? But that was my thought, because I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm thinking, the two-step that we do, like, on the black side. But this was, he seemed to be maybe Mexican American. So I didn't know if we was talking about the same two-step or not. So he said, well, if you want, he had a little country accent, but he was from Colorado, which was weird, because you from Colorado with a country accent. He said, well, I'll show you. And I was like, okay. And I said, but let me finish my drink. And he said, well, I tell you what, I'll leave my drink right here next to yours. And it wasn't a whole lot of people. So going out to the dance floor, which was huge, I could see my drink. So I was like, okay. So again, I had to make the conscious decision. Do I engage in this two-step, or do I say, well, you're going to have to wait till I finish my drink? And because I'm in my soft era, I said, I'm going to just go ahead and make it do what it do. So we go out there, and he shows the two-step was nothing of the two-step that I thought that it was. Okay, the two-step was a whole line dance, and it was hard. It was hard, because it was one of those dances where like grab your partner and spin them around, and when you're holding hands and stuff. It was one of those types of dances. So we're doing it, and it was crazy, because I had to allow myself to let someone lead me. So I'm like, I'm trying to allow this man lead me on this dance, and the whole time that I'm trying to keep up with him, I'm just remembering from younger years that, okay, when you're dancing with a man, you're supposed to allow the man to lead. So I'm trying, and I'm like, this is hard. But I made it through the dance. He was like, you did pretty good. I said, that was brutal. That was hard. He said, but you did so well. So I'm like, okay. So we're back at the table. No one went to the drinks or anything. So I'm finishing up my drink, because the whole time I could see if anybody even went by the table. since I don't even know if I remember how the electric slide, I just feel like I need to learn how to dance again. So that's one of my things in this season of my life. I'm going to learn how to dance again. I don't want to drop it like it's hot though, but I want to learn all the line dances because that's a big thing here in Houston. Like it's always some line dances going on, especially if you in the trail ride groups. So we're sitting there, we're chopping it up and everything, and then all of a sudden it was like maybe 8 or 9 ladies that were in there. They're on the floor and they're doing this little dance similar to like the electric slide, but not quite the electric slide. And he said, "Oh, this is a nice little line dance. It's called so and so." He said, "You know how to do it?" And I was like, "No." Now I'm not expecting this man to say, "Oh, I'll teach you." And that's what he said, "Come on, I'll teach you." So I was like, okay. So I finished up my little shot. And we went out there and he's teaching me. And this is why I had to not only pay attention to him. And this is what I liked about this moment. Because in this moment, consciously, I'm connecting to different things that I need to apply in this current journey of my life. So I'm following him on the steps. But, you know, when you're doing these line dances, at some point, you're not facing whoever. So in front of me was a lady. And I had the option to either keep looking behind me to figure out what he was doing or to pay attention to the lady in front of me and do what she was doing. And then to the side. So it was like I really had to pay attention to my surroundings, so to speak, and learn from my surroundings what was the next step to do. So that's a word all in itself for somebody. Sometimes it's not about just looking in front of you or behind you. You need to look all the way around you to get the cues. And as we did the dance, I got it, but I didn't get it, but I had it, but not really. Kind of, sort of, but nah, child. Even though, you know, he was like, "Oh, you did good." No, I didn't. Because usually when you're doing a line dance, if you at least get all the steps on at least just one time, not even one time did I get everything right. So I was like, okay, anywho. I realized as we was walking back, I said, okay, so in this season of my life, not only do I need to pay attention to whoever the man will be that I'm looking to lead me, I need to also look to my friend circle, my female friends, to help guide me, because there's certain things that I just don't know how to do. And a lot of, I'm like, I don't know how to flirt. How you flirt? I've never really had to flirt in my life. And when I was younger, I used to just bat my lashes at people and stuff. And I was doing it to be funny because I'm real goofy. But I need to start paying attention to everything that's going on around me. So then I decided to just I said, "Hey, you want to exchange numbers?" I don't never do that. But I said, "Hey, I'm doing something new and different here." So he said, "Sure." So I took his phone. I put my number. His phone is everything. And I said, "Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get home." Because, again, I'm up the street from where I live, but I've been drinking. I'm like, I got to make it home before the liquor hit. So I'm walking home. Then all of a sudden, I cross the street and I hear somebody saying something. And I turn and I look back. But this guy had stopped his car. And I said, "Hey." So I go back and I talk to him. So we were talking for a minute, changed numbers, put my number in his phone and everything. Then I go ahead and make it home. And he offered to give me a ride. And I said, "No, I'm fine. You know, I'm right up the street." And he said, "Oh, you in the high rise right there?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I get home. Me and him talked because he wanted to go out that night to have another drink. I knew I wasn't about to go nowhere and have no drink. And we talked the next day. And we talked the next day. And we even talked today. Like this I'm telling y'all, this is stuff that just happened on Friday. So today I decided to try to flirt a little bit. Lord Jesus, fix it. I don't know what I was thinking. But so this is what happened. I was cutting up this jackfruit, right? And I'm trying to record content because I feel like I want to do more food-based content in addition to showing people about manifestations and stuff like that. So I'm cutting up this jackfruit. In some kind of way, I done accidentally dialed this man. Now, mind you, when we met on Friday, when it came Monday, he kept calling me. But he was like, and I was calling him back because I kept missing the call. He said, "I'm sorry." He said, "I keep butt dialing you." He was like, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Okay, no problem." So accidentally called him and I was like, "Oh my God." And I felt horrible. But again, I know one of my things that I'm not good at is communicating. So I hardly ever call people. I'm more of a texter, and I have to learn how to get out of my head, because sometimes when I go to call people, and whether it's male or female, I'm like, oh man, I might be bothering them, and I don't even know if they really want to talk to me. And I go through all these whole conversations in my head. And most of the times I say, yeah, I ain't gonna call. But I'm learning in this season I need to communicate more. My homegirl, she came a couple of weeks from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I was asking her. I said, "Hey, what is something that you could tell me, because you've known me for so long? We've known each other since third grade. Something that I can do differently, better, or not do at all." And she said, "Well, one thing, you suck at communication." And we can be real transparent like that. And I was like, "Yeah, I know." So with her telling me that, and then my therapist telling me that, I'm like, "Oh my God, I really got to get this together." So long short, he ended up calling me back, and I didn't catch the call when he called me back, because I was doing something. And then when I seen he had called, I was about to get in the shower. So he was like, "Hey, I was about to take a shower, but if you call back, I'll call you when I get out." And I said, "Okay, the same. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you. That was an accidental call, blah, 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 blah." So some kind of way, the conversation in the text was like, "What we gonna talk about," or something like that. And I was like, "Well, I'll let you lead the conversation, but we can either talk about this bread, about this head." I don't know what made me say that. I still don't know what made me say that, but it was me trying to be like making a joke or whatever. But it was crazy. He was all gung ho and he ready to make plans, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And I remember telling my girl, I said, "Girl, I don't even know how to flirt." And I said, "I don't know what made me tell that man that, and now he gonna think, and that's not really what it is." So we ended up having a real lighthearted conversation via text. We never did talk again, but I was making it clear, and I was like, well, wait a minute," because he was like, "Well, what kind of alcohol you like?" He planning the whole thing out, and I'm like, whoa, soldier, we not going there yet, because I'm saying in my head, "Baby, we ain't even went on a date yet. Like, how that ain't how this rock." So that was a little crazy, but at the same time, it was me understanding that I started it because I done said some stuff I probably shouldn't have said, but I just kind of make a lighthearted joke, but it ended up being a good conversation. But it was just in those moments of me making those decisions. Right. I'm trying, sis. I'm trying. Making those decisions that I have to figure these things out. And that's kind of what I'm struggling with in this particular time space reality of communicating, because sometimes, like, since when me and you met, our communication just flowed, like we was talking for a couple hours and it just flowed. And sometimes I meet people and the conversation just flows, and I'm realizing sometimes the conversation is not going to flow, but that does not necessarily mean that the conversation is not there. So that's one of those things where for me, I have to retrain my consciousness. Um, so when I'm speaking and I'm reading through these things with you all, I'm really also being very transparent of sharing. These are some of my struggles. These are some of the things that I'm going through. These are some of the things that I have to work through, and they're not always going to be easy. Sometimes we get caught up in our head and our thought process, and we think one thing, and it's not necessarily that. But you have to have the, what's the word I want to use? I keep hearing power, but I don't, well, maybe it is power. You have to have the power within yourself to say, "Hey, I don't necessarily have to believe that this is what it is." And you can kind of see if it's something else. So I hope that helps somebody out. This eyelash is, I knew something was going on. The whole eyelash just done came off, but see, that's life. Life be life, and sometimes stuff fall off when it's supposed to fall off, and you got to realize, hey, the season is over and it's time to move on. And for me, I feel like I am in my 4-4-4 season. And look, I currently have 4 people that's showing over here on TikTok. And when I put the 3 and the 1 together that I have over here on YouTube, that is 4 as well. And I was debating, am I going to read chapter 4? And because I feel like I am in my 4-4 season, and if you got a 4 here, a 4 there, and chapter 4, there you go, 4-4-4. I'm really big in numerology and all this stuff. It is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and do that chapter 4. And then after that, I can't believe it's like almost 5:30. I'm going to end the live because I feel like this chapter is probably going to be a very eye-opening chapter for me. And just thinking about it, almost all of my books that I have been reading, because I read multiple books at one time, chapter 4 is the last chapter I've read in all of them, which means when I start back up, I'll be going through the different books in chapter 5. Where I stopped reading To Be a Slave at, I was in chapter 5, and then I decided to switch over to other books. So just imagine how that works. Wow. Anywho, how can I get there from here? Perhaps the question we hear most often from our physical friends is, why is it taking me so long to get what I want? It is not because you do not want it enough. It is not because you are not intelligent enough. It is not because you are not worthy enough. It is not because your fate is against you. It is not because someone else has already won your prize. The reason you have not already gotten what you desire is because you are holding yourself in a vibrational holding pattern that does not match the vibration of your desire. What did I just talk about? That whole story I just told you all ties into this right here. The reason you have not already gotten what you desire is because you are holding yourself in a vibrational holding pattern that does not match the vibration of your desire. That is the only reason ever. And an important thing for you to know, for you to now understand, is that if you will stop and think about it, or more important, stop and feel about it, you can identify your very discord. And I know my discord is my mindset. I know my discord is my mindset. So I know that my mindset has to change in a lot of different ways in order for me to manifest these things that I want to bring into my life in this season. So now the only thing you need to do is gently and gradually, piece by piece, release your resistant thoughts, which are the only disallowing factors involved. Your increasing relief will be the indicator that you are releasing resistance. Just as your feelings of increased tension, anger, frustration, and so on have been your indicators that you have been adding to your resistance. Well-being is lined up outside your door. I kind of feel like I got to go back to this. Your increasing relief will be the indicator that you are releasing resistance. Just as your feelings of increased tension, anger, frustration, and so on have been your indicators that you have been adding to your resistance. So I have learned when you feel fear, anger, frustration, all of those things, that shows you that you have a resistance against what you're trying to manifest. Meaning whatever you're trying to bring in, when everything is going smoothly, that means you're on the path of least resistance. But when it just feels so hard, or you're angry or you're fearful, those are considered triggers. And I believe you have to know your triggers and what causes your triggers, and you need to work through your triggers. As you work through your triggers, it actually helps you to bring in your manifestations more easily, because your triggers help you understand either you're on the right path or there's something that you're doing to block the manifestation, and you have to work through that thing is. So for me, in the story I just told you all, I understand what blocks my manifestation as far as a relationship is my mindset of just being willing to be transparent and fear of rejection. Fear of rejection is one of my biggest things, because it's kind of like, who wants to be rejected? And like me and my therapist, shout out to Dr. V in Atlanta, we had this conversation where I talked about my fear of rejection. He said, but nobody likes to be rejected. He said, but if you don't try, how will you even know if it's going to be rejection? And going back to the guy when I was like, we talk about this bread, how to get this bread, or they said, me just trying to be funny. I could have handled that one of two ways. I could have decided to get my panties all in a bunch, and I'm gonna have to take these lashes off. I'm sorry, because now I'm looking crazy, but it is what it is. Get my panties all up in a bunch and rah 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 at him, or decide, hey, I'm gonna make a lighthearted joke about this because I was the one that started the conversation, or just trying to be funny, and we kind of laughed it off, and we left in a good space from that conversation. So I'm learning to play with words a little bit, and trying to learn how to flirt, but I need to learn how to flirt a little bit better because I don't know how to flirt. Because I don't think I've ever really had to flirt necessarily in my life. Excuse me, confirmation burp, which means it's probably true. So it's a work in progress. So now the only thing you need to do is gently and gradually, piece by piece, release your resistant thoughts, which are the only disallowing factors involved. Your increasing relief will be the indicator that you are releasing resistance, just as your feelings of increased tension, anger, frustration, and so on have been your indicators that you have been adding to your resistance. So me sleeping past midnight, waking up at 1 something in the morning and deciding, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and go out because BB's don't close till 3. Now BB's is not a club, it's just like a little restaurant. But they open at 3 in the morning. I said, well, let me go ahead and see what they're about. Generally I will wake up and Uber Eats. I decided to do something differently. So I get up, I get dressed, I put on some light makeup or whatever. I went to BB's, and again, I'm fine with doing stuff solo. I don't really care. So I'm sitting there, and I ended up having a good time when I was sitting there. No issue. And I came home, and now I'm here reading with you guys. This is something that I generally would not do. So I have to start doing things differently instead of falling into the same pattern, so to speak. Because generally I would be like, okay, well, yeah, that's kind of late. Let me just go ahead and just Uber some food over. There's no need to go out, but I need to go outside more because I have social anxiety. Like now that I know this is why I don't necessarily like to go outside that much, I have social anxiety. I don't really like being in big crowds. I like to be around people that I know so I can be my regular goofy self, because other people might be like, oh, she's so goofy, and I can't be concerned with that. I have to be who I am. And I'm comfortable with being who I am around the people that I know. But I'm not comfortable with being who I am around people that I don't know. Hey, big boy. With people that I don't know, I'm a little quiet and reserved, and they're trying to figure me out. But I'm really trying to figure you out. I'm analyzing you like, can I be goofy with them? Or they're going to feel like I'm a little crazy. And it's okay, because I probably am a little crazy. Hell, I'm in therapy. But everybody should be in therapy. I think everybody needs a therapist that is unbiased when you're going through those things. I didn't ask my therapist about this whole man friend thing. He brought it up. He was like, look, if you want to come in and just keep dumping on me, he said, you can do that. A lot of people do that. He said, but if you won't change, we're going to have to talk about these things that you don't want to talk about. So now we're talking about the stuff that I don't want to talk about. And be more open about it. Well-being is lined up outside your door. We want to remind you of the basic premise that must be understood before any of this will make sense to you. Well-being flows. Well-being wants you. Well-being is lined up outside your door. Everything you have ever desired, whether spoken or unspoken, has been transmitted by you vibrationally. It has been heard and understood by Source and has been answered. And now you are going to feel your way into allowing yourself to receive it, one feeling at a time. You too, have a great day, sis. Love you. So again, if it doesn't feel good and you're doing something, you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Because I feel like if it doesn't feel good, it's probably not what you should be doing. Now, if it doesn't feel good, but it feels good, then you have to ask yourself, why does it not feel good? So, for example, because that probably sounded confusing. For example, say you are at a party. You're at a party and you're enjoying the party, you're enjoying the environment, you're enjoying the vibration, but you just don't feel right. You feel uncomfortable. Why are you feeling uncomfortable? If you like the vibe, you like everything that's around you, you like everything that's going on, but you feel uncomfortable, is it that you're feeling uncomfortable because you're not used to being out in a crowd? Is it that you're feeling uncomfortable because you don't know anybody in the room? And this is going to be a season, and this is mainly for me, but if it's for you, again, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. You are going to find yourself in rooms where you don't know anyone, and it's a room that you've never been in before. It might be a room filled with millionaires, and you're not a millionaire yet, but you're on the road to becoming one. So you feel like you don't fit, so you're uncomfortable, but you like the fact that you're in the room. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't feel good, so you shouldn't be there. It means that it's an unknown feeling that you have to get used to. I hope that helps somebody. You are a physical extension of source energy. You are an extension of source energy. You are standing on the leading edge of thought. Your time space reality was set into motion through the power of thought long before it manifested in the physical form in which you see it now. Everything in your physical environment was created from non-physical perspective by that which you call source. And just as source created your world and you through the power of focused thought, you are continuing to create your world from your leading edge place in this time space reality. You and that which you call source are the same. You cannot be separated from source. Source is never separated from you. When we think of you, we think of source. When we think of source, we think of you. Source never offers a thought that causes separation from you. You cannot offer a thought that would cause total separation. Separation is actually far too strong of a word. But you can offer thoughts that are different enough in vibrational nature to hinder your natural connection with source. We refer to that condition as resistance. So think of, let's go back to that room full of millionaires. And you feel uncomfortable, but you like the vibration. You like the fact that you're in the room. You like everything that you're seeing and you're experiencing in the room. But you feel uncomfortable and you have a desire to leave the room. Why are you leaving a room that was meant for you to be in? That's resistance. So you have to decide, hey, do I resist this feeling of not feeling like I belong and replace that thought with, I may not be a millionaire yet, but because I'm a millionaire in the making, I belong in this room. So let me get up and network with some of the millionaires in here so I can learn how to interact with other millionaires as I continue my journey to being one. So sometimes you have to just retrain your mind, which is retrain your consciousness. And then eventually, as you start walking into rooms filled with millionaires, you'll feel more comfortable and you'll start to get the feeling of what being a millionaire feels like. And before you know it, you're in rooms filled with millionaires, although you may not be one, but you walk like one, you talk like one, you act like one, you sound like one, and before you know it, you'll be one. The only form of resistance or hindrance of your connection to that which is source is offered by you from your physical perspective. Source is always fully available to you, and well-being is constantly extended to you. And often you are in the state of allowing this well-being, but sometimes you are not. We want to assist you in consciously allowing your connection more of the time with Source. As extensions of non physical energy, you are taking thought beyond that which it has been before. And through contrast, you will come to conclusions or decisions. And once you align with your desire, the non physical energy that creates worlds will flow through you, which means enthusiasm, passion, and triumph. That is your destiny. From the non physical, you create you. And now from the physical, you continue to create. We all must have objects of attention, desires that are ringing our bells in order to feel the fullness of who we are flowing through us for the continuation of all that is. That desire is what puts the eternalness in eternity. The evolutionary value of your personal preferences. Do not underestimate the value of your preferences, for the evolution of your planet depends upon those of you on the leading edge of thought continuing to fine tune your desires. And the contrast or variety in which you are standing provides the perfect environment for the formation of your personal preferences. As you are standing in the midst of contrast, new desires are radiating constantly from you in the form of vibrational signals that are received and answered by Source. And in that moment, the universe is expanding. This book is not about the expanding universe or about Source answering your every request or about your worthiness, for all of that is given. For all of that is a given. This book is about you putting yourself in a vibrational place of receiving all that you are asking for. The science of deliberate creation. And we are on the last page. Again, I am reading Ask and It Is Given, Learning to Manifest Your Desires by Esther and Jerry Hicks, The Teachings of Abraham. The science of deliberate creation. We want to assist you in the deliberate realization of the things that your environment has inspired within you. For we want you to experience the exhilaration of joyously, consciously creating your own reality. You do create your own reality. Create your own reality, even if you do not understand that you do so. For that reason, you often create by default. When you are consciously aware of your own thoughts and you are deliberately differing them, then you are the deliberate creator of your own reality. And that is what you intended when you made the decision to come forth into this body. Your desires and beliefs are just thoughts. Ask and it is given. You ask through your attention, through your wanting, through your desire. That is the asking, whether you desire it to happen or you desire it not to happen. You are asking. You do not have to use your words. You just have to feel it in your being. I desire this. I adore this. I appreciate this, and so on. That desire is the beginning of all attraction. Remember, I said the feeling. So, if you guys have not been following me, when it comes to manifesting, there's four things. First, you have to decide it. You have to decide what you want to manifest. And like this just said, when you say, I desire this, I adore this, I appreciate this, I want this, you're making a decision. After you decide it, you need to believe it. Once you believe it for yourself, you have to believe it for yourself. Then you have to see it. And I always say see it and tap on my third eye, because you have to see it in your mind first. Once you grab the feeling of it, that's when the manifestation will start to come in. So, as it said, that desire is the beginning of all attraction. You just have to feel it in your being. I desire this. I adore this. I appreciate this, and so on. That desire is the beginning of all attraction. You never grow tired of expansion or of creation, for there is no ending to the new ideas of desires that flow. With every new idea of something you would like to experience, possess, or know, will come its actualization or manifestation. And with that manifestation will also come a new perspective from which you will desire. That contrast or variety never ends. So the sprouting forth of new desires will never end, and as that, asking never ends. The answering never ceases to flow, and so new perspectives will always be yours. New contrasts and new inspiring desires and perspectives will be laid out eternally before you. Once you relax into the idea that you will never cease to be, that new desires will constantly born within you, that new desires will be constantly born within you, that source will never stop answering your desires, and that your expansion is therefore eternal, then you may begin to relax if, in this moment, there is something that you desire that has not yet come to fruition. It is our desire that you become one who is happy with that which you are and with that which you have, while at the same time being eager for more. That is the optional creative vantage point, to stand on the brink of what is coming, feeling eager, optimistic anticipation, with no feeling of impatience, doubt, or unworthiness hindering the receiving of it. That is the science of deliberate creation at its best. I want to thank you all for joining me on this live reading. We have been live over 2 hours. Woo! I will be back with chapter 5. I can't tell y'all when, but I'll be back with chapter 5. It'll probably be later today. It might be at 3 a.m. tomorrow. I don't know. But chapter 5 is this simple basis of understanding makes it all fit together. So if you want to join me on the journey, please be sure to subscribe over on YouTube. Follow me over on TikTok. YouTube will have replays. I'm going to take and chop this live up and start to disperse it in little shorts on YouTube and on TikTok. So that way, if you missed part of it, the most juiciest parts is what's going to be chopped up and available to you. But I want to say again, thank you all for joining me. I love you all and have a super awesome and blessed day. And no matter what you do, keep manifesting. Love, Coach Top. Bye. Now I want to be sure I end this correctly over on YouTube. I didn't see that, Val. Thank you, sis. Have a